Hello folks, how are you? I'd like to share something with you today that I made as a Christmas gift, or it could be any kind of gift or a gift for yourself. And these are my little boxes that I've created, and I call them my 10 things box. And I've done this one here, and just to show you, I do have some still photos in the video here that you can see. But these are all little tags that come out, and there are 5 of them. And it's a small little box, and it measures about 3 by 3. And it's a paper mache box, or a nice cardboard box that I've covered and painted, and I'm going to show you some instructions on how to do that. It's not very difficult at all. It actually comes together pretty quick. And I made these little envelopes, little envelope cards, and the name of my box is 10 Things, and the front little envelope here says that Make Today Great, and that was a stamp set by, I believe, I have so many stamps, folks, by Close to My Heart. So the stamp set is by from Close to My Heart, and it's called 10 Things. And if anyone's interested, this is the stamp set. And it has many other little sayings on here. 10 things I miss about you, I do every day, I love you, I dream about, I cherish. So you can see all those little add-ons that you can put on. Or, great thing folks, you can do this on the computer. It's not a big deal. You can print all this stuff. It's only 10 things, and then you want a saying, some type of saying for the 10 things. And it could be, we're in the Christmas season now, it could be about Christmas, 10 things I love about Christmas, 10 things I love about you, 10 things I miss about you. So you can make it your own. But what I love is that these are just little chipboard cards, and I'm going to show you how I made the little pocket. Really cute little pocket to slide a little tag in there. And how nice just to stand these on a shelf. I would love to do one of these. I'm going to show you another one that I just made. Love to do one of these and leave it for my family for later on. Who knows? You know, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, you never know. And they would learn a little bit more about you. So let's get started. So there's that box there, and that's 10 things that make today great. And then this one here that I just created. This one there's going to be all photos of at the end of the video here. And this is 10 things I cherish. And this is the one that I really want to fill up with my own personal things. 10 things I particularly cherish that I want to leave to my family. Who knows? Maybe, who knows? You never know what's going to happen after you pass away. But it'd be nice to leave it to somebody. So this little box here is the same exact thing. It was made from a little chipboard box. Same cards, same idea. The paper that I used from this one is all available at Eclectic Papery, and this is Serenade. You can see that I used a lot of the buttons, not buttons, these are brads. I used all of the buttons. There was the button card, it's empty. I also used the crystals from Prima. Absolutely love Prima crystals. I use them all the time. Love them, love them. And I'll show you that actually I used one package, and what I did was I cut them up. And I kind of put one little cutting on each of the 5 cards that are in this box. So I only used one package, which was pretty cool. And this was I used a small pad of paper. You don't need the big ones. You can use the small 6x6s for this project. They worked perfectly. So all of this is available at Eclectic Papery. So I'll put that aside. What's also available at Eclectic Papery is the box. And this is what you get. It's by Maya Road. So it's a little Maya Road box, and this is a 3-inch vintage memory box. And it comes with little coasters that fit on the inside. So you open this up, and you get these little chipboard coasters that I did not use. I put them aside. We can use them for something else at another time. But this is how the box comes. Opens up, and there are those little chipboard cards that I did not use. But you can see that this is the same exact box, and what I did was I started by painting it. So that's the first thing you need to do, is to paint your box. Okay, but we're going to get into instructions in 1 second. I just want to go through this, take a little tour of this box, because this is the one that you'll see the photos of at the end of the video. And this is 10 Things I Cherish. So here's the first card here. And I put this little butterfly. It's a paper butterfly from Martha Stewart that I punched out. And this slides out. So you have the card here. And then you have a back spot also if you wanted to put some more photos. And there's 5 cards in this box. And the way I work it is I put something on the card here. You can put 2 things on the card. Or you can put 1 on the card and then something on the back as well to get your 10 things. But you can put photos, you can put journaling. What I'd like to do is put a little, this is a great spot for a small little wallet-sized photo, and then a little bit of journaling. So I can't wait to fill this up. So you can see that I used a little bit of the Prima Swirl there. These are one of the buttons I used from the Serenade. This here is another card. I used once again a little bit of the Prima Swirl that I cut up. This is from the Serenade brads. That whole piece comes all put together for you. And this is another tag that comes out. So you can slide that back in, and once again you have the back. This is the third one. Small little piece of Prima crystals that I put on there, that I cut apart and put on. I also used one of the Maya Road clips here, the little metal clips. And that slides out as well. And this came together pretty quick, folks. Does not take that long. More crystals. Another brad from the Serenade. And these are just, this is a small little banner that I made. It's just a strip of paper. You can see that when I folded it, I made a little fold there that pops up. So there's nothing really intricate on here at all. This is one of the many flower rosettes that are out there, the pleated paper rosettes that are out there. And this is the last one. I put the butterfly on the top again, the last of the Prima crystals, and then this is the last tag that comes out. And that was on the Serenade brads as well. Okay, so there we have it, folks. There are all the cards. Here is the box empty. You can see that I did not paint the inside. I don't usually do that. But the rest of it is painted. There's the front, the side, the back, and then the other side. So let's get started. Let me show you how I made this box. I already started by telling you that we paint it. So it all gets painted. And when I painted this, you don't have to paint the middle, because I usually put a square of paper there to kind of cover that. You can if you want to, totally up to you. On my other on the green 10 Things box, you can see that I left it all painted. You don't have to put paper. So it's totally up to you. I left this one, so I'm going to put some squares of paper there. And the back as well. I do not paint the inside. And I wait to paint the top cover there, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. Okay? What you will need with this is you will need some chipboard. And the chipboard pieces are right here. You need to cut 6 of these, and they're 5 3/4 by 2 5/8. And then you need 6 of these and 1 of these, which is 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. Now, one of your larger size chipboard pieces is going to be your backing, which is going to help hold this box open. And it's going to sit right, glue and sit right in there. Now what I found out is that if I glue this in, because of the, you can see right there, because of the lip of the box, you have this space there that really doesn't allow you to glue this down very well. So what I did was I cut this smaller piece, and this is going to be like a spacer that's going to fit in between, so that, of course, holding everything all together, so that it's going to take up that space in between and you won't have that gap at all. That's what that little piece is for. So what I like to do is I cut my 6 pieces of chipboard. I'm going to use one of them for the backing of the box, and what I do is I take this little square and I glue it on the back, right at the top there. I line it right up at the top. I glue it on the back, and then I glue the entire thing right into the box, right to the lid, right to the bottom. So it's going right to the bottom of the box, right to the outside, and that's what's going to hold the box upright. So you can see that on here, on the black one, you can see that that's exactly what I have here. I covered it with paper so that you don't see it. You could paint it if you wanted to. And you can see, I don't know if you can see the little spacer in there. I didn't paint it all the way so that you could see it on the sides there. See it right there? So there's that little spacer, and what it does is this holds the cover open so that once it's glued, it's not going anywhere, and it becomes like a little backing for the box. Okay? So why don't you get all that glued, and then we'll come back and we'll continue with our little tags. Okay folks, I wanted to come back and show you how I glued this down just so that you can have an actual visual of it. So there's my big card right there. And then here is the smaller 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. And as far as glue goes, please use a liquid glue for this. Do not use a tape runner. It will not hold. I'm using right now Beacon 3-in-1. And you can use, I love Zip Dry. You can use Zip Dry if you'd like. Whatever your favorite glue is for really holding down something very tightly. So don't use anything that's going to fall apart pretty easily. And what I do is I cover the whole back of this pretty liberally. Make sure you get the edges pretty well. And then this is going to slide right into the box here. Fits perfectly. And it's going to glue right to the top of the lid. And you can see that little spacer really, really helps out. So make sure it's all lined up evenly. Make sure it hits the bottom of the box. So you want to make sure that cardboard piece hits right there at the bottom of the box. And then you want to make sure that it's evenly spaced on your lid here all the way around. And then you're going to hold it for a little bit just to make sure it dries really well. I like to lay it flat and then put my hand in and really press down and really make sure that everything is nicely adhered. So give that a few minutes to dry up and to stick. And I make sure that I continue adding pressure to it. And what you're going to do after this now is you're going to go back in and you're going to paint the edges here, whatever color paint you're using, just the edges. You don't have to do the whole thing because we're going to be covering that with paper. So I'm going to get my paint and I'm going to paint my edges and then we'll come back. Okay folks, we're back. So you can see that now I've painted my edges, I've glued it down, I've painted it. Make sure you get in the corners there with your paintbrush. I like using a foam paintbrush, and of course I didn't do all that because the paper's going in there, so we don't need to cover that up. Okay, so there we go, and there's our box. It's nice and sturdy. Now I'm going to show you really quick while that's drying how I did my little pockets on my cards here. So you can see that this is a little tag here, and then I had this little pocket that this tag slides in and out of on these cards. So when you're cutting your cards out, your chipboard cards, these are from Chipboard, you're cutting 6 of them. 1 is for the back of the box, and then 5 are the additional cards are going to sit in the box. So these 5 cards, on top of those cards, I cut and I used a coin envelope. And the coin envelopes I used are from Staples, and these are the envelopes I used. So they're number 6 coin envelopes, and they're, what are they, 3 3/8 by 6 inches. And they're pretty inexpensive. I know this is 200, I got a lot of them, 250. because I use them a lot, but they do come in smaller packages, smaller amounts that you don't have to buy this entire box. But it wasn't that, it was $10 for the box, so I use them a lot, so I decided to go ahead and get that many. I teach a lot of classes. So here is the envelope. This is what it looks like. It's this manila colored envelope, and there's the little flap up there, so you can see there's the back of it. So you want to keep your flap to the top, and what I'm doing here is I'm going to cut from the corner, the top of the corner to the bottom of the corner. I drew it with my ruler. I drew the line with my ruler, and I'm going to cut along that line so that I'm going to create this diagonal little pocket that I'm going to be using. So cut right along that line. And you can use a pencil line. You don't have to do this out of magic marker. I just wanted to make sure you folks saw it. So this is the piece I cut off. And then this is the little pocket that I end up with, which is pretty cute. So you can discard that. I haven't really found a use for that yet. I suppose maybe someday I will. And you'll see that it still doesn't really fit that well. So I lay it on top of match the corner to the corner. I flip this over, and I take a pencil, and I marked that on the bottom, mark that on the top, my marking, so I know where to cut. And I trimmed this one off. I trimmed that one off. And there is how I created my little pocket. Now before I glue all my pockets on, what I do is I make sure I cut my paper first. So cover all your chipboard pieces with paper front and back. And when I do that, I love to adhere them. I mean, everyone can use their own adhesive. You can use, the regular adhesive, but I love my Claudine Helmuth, my matte medium. And I put this on with a brush. And I brush the entire card, and then I lay my paper on, and then you get a true adhesion. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to peel off. The corners won't pick up, because there's nothing worse than having a project made, and then you see that afterwards your corners are picking up and they're kind of peeling away. I absolutely hate that. So I use my matte medium. I make sure everything is stuck down well. Cover the cards first, front and back. Then you're going to take your little envelope here, glue it down, and I used my 3-in-1 glue for this one also. I used my Beacon 3-in-1 for this one. Glue the little card down, and then cover that with paper. Now before I glued it down, I made sure that I traced this out on a piece of cardstock that you'll be using to cover this. So it's pretty easy. You want to just make sure you have that same exact size. You want to make sure that you're not, trying to guess. So I can show you real quick here. Let's say I was covering it with this. I sat this right in the corner. And with the pencil, drew my edges, drew my sides. And if you cut this out and lay it right on top, it'll be exactly the same size, and you'll have your pocket all done. So I'll do this for you real quick to show you. And then you will go ahead and you will do 5 of these. Now I did 5 in my box. If you feel like you'd like to do, there's enough room, you can do an extra one, you can do 6, you can do less. But if you're doing the 10 things, then you really want to make sure that you have 5 cards in there so you can put 2 things on each card. And there's that. Now when I glue this down, I put the glue on the pocket itself and not the paper. I find it a little easier. You could use Claudine Helmuth for this as well. Now the only thing about this is when you put this on, just make sure that first of all you cover it and you put it where it's supposed to be. And the other thing you want to make sure is you want to make sure that you're not gluing the little pocket shut. Okay? So you make sure that stays open and doesn't get glued shut. I also inked these. I inked these before I glued them down. And I used 2 colors here. I used my Memento, I used Olive Grove, and I used Northern Pine. And I just went all around the edges and inked just to give it some dimension. And you can see that I should have moved it more on the bottom there and covered that. Okay, so pretty easy. These go together pretty quick, folks. Doesn't really take that long. And then you have your, once you glue it down, you'll have your little pocket. Okay? Alright, do all those up, folks, and then we'll be back. Okay, folks, I just wanted to show you really quick how I adhered this paper down. This is my Claudine Helmuth matte medium. And with the foam brush, I just add it on real quick. Make sure you get the corners. And then my paper's all pre-cut. I lay it right down. And you have a little bit of time to kind of wiggle this around. Make sure that it gets on there nice and straight. Make sure the edges are adhered. And that's it. It now becomes one with that chipboard, and that's what I love. The edges will not come up. It will not peel away. And you're going to do the other side. Same exact thing. And there we go. You have one covered chipboard card. Now, you don't have to put paper. You can paint these if you'd like. You can paint your chipboard. You don't have to have patterned paper, so that's another option for you. And you could use Claudine Helmuth for this as well, to glue this down. This is our little pocket that we created. And this lays right on the top there. And there we go. This is a lot of fun because you get to mix and match your papers, one in the background, one for the pocket, and then one for the tag. So make sure this all sticks well. And then what I did was I went around with my inker here, my ink pad here. I went around the edges, inked the edges, give it a little more dimension. And the back, don't forget the back as well. And there you go, folks. I'm not going to do all 5 cards with you, but you can see that it goes pretty quick. And it fits in the box really well. And moves around pretty well. Now don't forget, you have to either paint this, or you're going to put a piece of matching coordinating cardstock in there as well. Or you can use pattern paper. It's totally up to you what you'd like to put in there. Okay, so I will be back and we'll finish up the rest of these cards. Hello folks, we're back. Now I want to show you how I made these little tags that go inside the pockets. You're cutting 5 1/4 by 2 1/2, and I used regular cardstock, one that matches the paper. You could use pattern paper, but it's a little thin. I like using cardstock. It's a little bit heavier. So those are the sizes that fit into this pocket perfectly. They slide in there very nicely, and you can see that the end is open as well too. So you know, if you wanted just to go in by the side here, you can do that as well, and it stays. It does not move. Now, as far as my tabs go, I have a couple of tab punches that I use. I have my McGill tab punch. I love this one. I don't believe this one's available anymore to purchase. You may be able to find it on eBay. And the other one I use is my Stampin' Up! Punch, my tab punch. Love this one as well. And those are the 2 tabs that I've punched here. Now, there are tons of other tab punches out there that you can use. You can also use all kinds of decorative pieces and just fold them over and use those as tabs. I put one tab on the top of the card here. So this gets glued on, and that's one tab that sits there. The other tab goes onto my actually the entire chipboard piece. And I put that one up there and folded that one over and glued that one down. Now when you're putting your 5 cards in here, you don't want all the tabs to be in the same spot. So I made sure that I put one tab here, the next card I put the next tab, I put it down here, the next tab I put a little further. You can't go any further than this because it'll stop it from sitting inside the box. So the last two I did, I put one tab up here and then I put another tab over there. So when you're putting your tabs on, be careful because you want to make sure that they really sit in the box well and you're not getting them all crazy. So you can see this one here, that's the last tab you can fit in the box, otherwise the card will not go in. Okay, and you can see that this one here, I ran out of room on the side there, so I had to go to the top. So I put some tabs on the top as well. So that's how I put my tabs on. That's how I make my tags. And I want to show you really quick how I decorated my little envelopes here. You can see on this one that I was using some of the Prima sprays here, which are really pretty. And the way I did that was, I love it that this is on a clear sheet, so I can actually see where I would like my spray to go and how I would cut it apart. So that looks pretty good right there. I like the way that looks. And I would just take my scissors and cut the entire plastic piece. And I kind of like the way that looks. If I want to raise it up a little bit, I can cut this little swirl off too, which I think I may do. And cut that little swirl off. We'll save it for something else. And look how nice that fits in there. And then you would peel it and you would stick it. And you have this whole extra piece here to really work with 4 additional cards. So that's 1, 2, you can do 3, you can do 4, and don't forget you have an extra little swirl here that you cut off as well. So you can really definitely get 5 out of this one purchase here, which is great. And I love the colors. The colors work so well together on this Serenade. Okay, and that's about it folks, besides decorating your cards here. So we talked about the tabs, talked about the spray here. And the last thing is just decorating your card. I showed you how I put my tabs on. I put a little piece of lace, just glued that on, and then this was a button I added, and this here was actually a brad. You can see it in the back there. It was a brad that came with the buttons from the Serenade collection. I know some people don't like to see their brads in the back. Neither do I. I'd probably put something over there just to cover that for the back. And that's it, folks. You can decorate it as you wish. Put it together as you wish. There'll be photos at the end of the video, up-close photos, so that you can see how I put the rest of it together. And hopefully you can make one of these for someone special, for maybe for yourself, to leave to someone, or as a Christmas gift. I could definitely see this as 10 things I love about Christmas, 10 things I love about you in Christmas. You know, I could really see the whole family kind of getting into this and having a good time, even have the kids get involved. Do something with the pets, do something with family, do each card maybe for a family member. You could really have a lot of fun with this. So happy holidays and enjoy making one.